Hi everyone, welcome to the CSS Learners Academy. In the last lecture, we have discussed the first topic of Pakistan affairs, which is the ideology of Pakistan. Today, we are going to discuss the second topic, which is the land and people of Pakistan. Here, we are going to talk about the geography of Pakistan, the society, the natural resources, agriculture, industry, and education. Here we will discuss the characteristics of each one of them, then their trends and the problems, and then I will give the recommendations about how we can solve the problems. Another important factor here is that you will not see in the past papers that a comprehensive question of 20 marks have been asked on any of these topics, because they are not important with respect to that specific thing. But the importance of this topic is that when I am going to talk about the next topic, which is the third topic of Pakistan affairs, and it talks about the Pakistan and the changing regional apparatus. For clear understanding of that topic, this topic will provide as a base. This is basically for the beginners, where I am going to talk about the basic things, and then these basics will be helpful for understanding what I am going to talk about in the next lecture. The next lecture is going to be very important because currently there are several changes being going on all the bordering countries of Pakistan. Like we have seen the tensions between India and China, the tensions between India and Iran, specifically the tensions with respect to the Kashmir issue, and especially the current situation of Iran, where the mysterious blast or fires have been erupted, and there are several theories about what is going on there, and the Persian Gulf, and especially in Afghanistan, if Americans are going to leave, what would be the situation. All of these issues are interrelated, which I am going to talk in the next topic. So for a better understanding of the next topic, this topic is going to be a base, and that's why it is very important. So let's start the lecture for today. Well, geographically, Pakistan is located at 30.375 degrees north and 69.345 degrees east. How we calculate this sort of a connection? It is because of the imaginary lines that have been drawn, and they are known as longitude and latitude. From the center of the earth, there is an equator which is supposed to be at 0 degree, and then we have the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. So we calculate the area of northern and southern hemisphere in accordance with that 0 line, which is the equator. Same is the case with the lines of latitude. The base is the Greenwich Mean Time, GMT. You must have seen GMT plus 1, GMT plus 2, GMT plus 4. These are the international timelines which are set according to the lines of latitude, and that is present at the Greenwich Mean Time. So according to the Greenwich Mean Time, we can find out east and west, and in accordance with equator, we can find out the north and south. So Pakistan is located at 30 degree north and 69 degree east. About the geography of Pakistan, you will see that Pakistan is located at a very important geostrategic location. I will suggest you to open the world map while you are listening to what I am saying. You will see that on the northern side of Pakistan, there is the Himalayas range, and three highest peaks of the three mountain ranges meet here in Pakistan. One of them is Nanga Parbat, the second one is Rakaposhi, and the third one is Ketu. So you will see that from glaciers, when we come down towards sea, Pakistan is rich with different types of physical features and terrains. We have glaciers in the north, then we have plateaus, we have green mountains, and we have mountains of Balochistan filled with minerals and natural resources, and then we have plains along the sides of Indus River, and then we have deserts, and finally Pakistan is connected to the Indian Ocean via Arabian Sea. When you look towards the rivers of Pakistan, it is a great blessing that we have one river which is known as Indus River, and it flows from Tibet up to Arabian Sea. This is the biggest source of water for Pakistan, along with Chenab and Jhelum. So looking at the location of Pakistan, you will see that on the eastern side, all the eastern countries cannot be connected to the western countries via land without going through Pakistan. On the north of Pakistan, we have China. So together, these China and Pakistan, they provide as a barrier or as a gateway, whatever the relationship of that country is. So for the eastern countries, all of these, including India and Burma and Laos and Cambodia and Far East Asian countries, when you are going to try to cross via land area, you need to go through Pakistan. So that is the reason that Pakistan is known as the zipper of Eurasia. It is a connection between Europe and Asia. It can be a connection between Europe and Asia. Central Asia, which not only serve as the breadbasket of the world, but is going to be another important spot in the modern Cold War. Russia, China, United States, Iran, all countries are right now focusing and investing on the Central Asian states, keeping in view their own strategic goals. So that is one thing. The second important factor is that as Pacific Ocean was important for the Western world because of its connection to the Far East Asian states and especially China, but now because of the problems that we are having in South China Sea and they are likely to escalate, the second important option for the maritime trade is Indian Ocean. And now we have seen that after the bilateral agreement between Pakistan and China known as CPEC, Gwadar is going to be very important, and it raises the importance of Indian Ocean even further. So generally this is about the geography of Pakistan. I will not go into details because all other details can be found on internet and statistical details can be found. What I am trying to do here is to make a general concept, a general analysis about the situations that you may keep these analysis in your mind. They will be very helpful in attending any type of question related to these facts. The second important thing is the system of government of Pakistan. The system of government is democracy, and Pakistan has a bicameral type of parliament where we have a lower house and an upper house. The lower house is known as the National Assembly, whereas the upper house is known as Senate, and together this is the parliamentary form of government which is here in Pakistan. The three important pillars of the federal government are the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary. After several amendments, now I can say that we have reached a point where our elections are free and fair elections, and politicians are elected as chosen by the people, whereas the judiciary is independent as well. The third important factor is that Pakistan is the only nuclear power among the Islamic countries and the seventh nuclear power of the world. Now let me clear another important point here, that many people believe that Pakistan wanted to be a nuclear power. It is not right. It is not based on fact. Pakistan never wanted to be a nuclear power. Pakistan was forced to do that. We have seen several things because of our hostile enemy on the eastern border, which is India. Far before Pakistan, they have actually tested the nuclear weapons in 1974 in the deserts of Rajasthan with the operation named Smiling Buddha. Now that was the time when Pakistan decided that unless we gain the nuclear independence, unless we get the deterrence, the nuclear deterrence, we are not going to survive, because the plans of Indians are pretty clear. Just 3 or 4 years ago, a special advisor of Narendra Modi said that we have divided Pakistan into two parts in 1971, and now we are going to divide Pakistan into 4 parts. So India is the only country of the world which very clearly, regardless of the international laws and the norms and values of international community, they clearly said that they are the enemy of Pakistan and they are going to divide Pakistan. I mean, their ambitions, they are very clear about that. So the next important thing in the geography of Pakistan is the neighbors. You will see that on the eastern side, Pakistan has a border with India. There is an international border and then in the occupied Kashmir region, which was occupied on 27th October 1947, and it is occupied still. On that region, the area or the border is known as line of control. Then there is the northeastern part where we have our friendly country known as China. On the western border, northwestern border, Pakistan borders with Afghanistan, and this border, international border, is known as Durand Line, which is recognized in all the Indian Acts, subsequent Indian Acts of 1909, 1919, Government of India Act 1935, Independence Act 1947, Rowlatt Act, and finally the three constitutions of Pakistan. So that is the border between Afghanistan and Pakistan, and on the southwestern corner we have the border with Iran. The last important thing in the geography of Pakistan is the archaeological sites. You will see that Pakistan is related to different civilizations more than 3,000 or even 5,000 years ago. We have sites like Harappa in Sahiwal, where we have the remains of Dravidians. Then we have Mohenjo-daro, where the remains of Indus civilization could be found, and then we have Texla. Texla was the most important city of Gandhara civilization, and not only Gandhara civilization, but the historians have written pretty much about Texla. Texla is the only city which remained standing for more than 1,000 years in different civilizations. We can say that Texla in this area can be compared with the cities of Transsaxonia, which is also known as Mawara-un-Nahar or Bukhara or Tashkent. So in this topic, the geography of Pakistan, what are the trends, as I have talked earlier, and I will talk in the next lecture, that the geopolitical situation is changing, and it is changing at a very fast pace. No analyst can analyze anything, he or she can forecast anything about what is going on in the future in this region specifically. So Pakistan gained a very important place in this changing and reshaping of the new world order. We are seeing a new trend of the emergence of China, which is based upon Pakistan because of the flagship project of OBOR, which is known as CPEC. Then we have seen the isolation of India because of the wrong policies of the current government. I will talk about this in detail when I will deliver a lecture on Kashmir issue, that none of the other countries were so harmful for India as the government of Narendra Modi itself is. They are isolating India continuously, and they are continuously making the mistakes. We have seen a decline in the Indian economy. We have seen riots and chaos inside the country because of the laws that have been passed by the current Indian government. And on the international front, we have seen clashes with all the neighbors of India. There are clashes with China, with Nepal, even Bhutan, Pakistan. All of the countries are facing difficulties because of the India's aggressive and hegemonic role, and especially Kashmir issue is another important factor which will be talked later. So these global trends are shifting, and Pakistan is gaining the important place. Another bloc that is emerging right now is the China, Russia and Iran. The partnership of these countries is growing, and their anti-American narrative is getting stronger day by day. And then we are seeing a new partnership of Islamic countries in the form of Malaysia, Turkey and Pakistan. Then we see that this is another bloc where Pakistan has another important place. So all of these changing scenarios point out towards the importance of the location that Pakistan maintains. The problems that Pakistan face is that Pakistan could not reap the benefits of its geopolitical situation, geostrategic location, because of the political instability that we have here in Pakistan and some international factors. Many of the friends in the international community that Pakistan have chosen was a wrong choice, and it was proved later on that Pakistan tried to be their ally. Pakistan tried to do anything that was in the power of this smaller and a new country, but they were betrayed again and again. So now it is time for Pakistan to make a foreign policy where our choices of our friends and enemies should be very specific and based on facts. So the next topic that we are going to discuss today is the society of Pakistan. The society of Pakistan, I would like to say that it is divided into several ethnic groups. We have Punjabis and we have Pashtun and we have Sindhis and Balochis, and then the people of Azad Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan. So we can say that culturally or socially, Pakistan is a diverse country where we have several ethnicities living together as the single people. And then we have different religions. We have the Muslims, which is obviously Islam is the official religion of Pakistan. Islam is the base that Pakistan was created upon. But other than that, we have Hindus and we have Sikhs and other communities are living here in Pakistan, and they are respected. They have rights, and the rights of minority is something that Pakistan is very conscious about. And recently we have seen the advances like the building of a Hindu temple inside the capital Islamabad, regardless of the opposition that has been faced by some of the fronts. But the government and the people of Pakistan are very happy with such kind of initiatives where the minorities can be safeguarded. Secondly, we have seen the construction of the Kartarpur corridor on the Indian borders for the Sikh community. And these are the initiatives that Pakistan regularly takes to safeguard the rights of minorities. About the languages, Urdu is the national language of Pakistan, and English is the official language of Pakistan, whereas several other languages are being used here, like Punjabi and Hindko and Potwari, Saraiki, Sindhi, Balochi, Pashto. About the trends of how the trends of our society of Pakistan are changing, I would like to say that now the situation is much better. Before some years ago, we had several problems on the basis of ethnicities and on the basis of sectarianism. But as the security agencies of Pakistan were working day and night to curb the base of why these issues were created, and now we see that there is a sense of harmony and nationalism among the people of Pakistan, because the foreign hand that was involved in creating such kind of divisions have not only been specified, but we have concrete evidence about the countries who were involved in such kind of the problems, creating these kinds of problems. And now the agencies, the security agencies of Pakistan are resolving these issues on a very fast pace. So now we see that a sense of nationalism and a sense of unity is again on the heights. But along with these changing trends, I would like to say that the responsibility of the federal government, that the autonomy should be given to the provinces, that was promised via 18th Amendment which was passed in 2010, that the provinces should be autonomous and the federal government should not interfere in the matters of provinces. As soon as this autonomy is recognized, I think that many problems could be solved. The next topic is the natural resources of Pakistan. So Pakistan has the largest salt mine, the second largest coal reservoirs, fifth largest gold mines, seventh largest copper mines, and the country is 11th largest wheat producer and 12th largest rice producer, 7th country of the world with nuclear power. So you have seen with these statistics that Pakistan is rich in natural resources. And most recently, let's talk about the hydrocarbon which have been found in Thar. It says that the world's largest hydrocarbon in Thar, Sindh, has been found, and it contains 2,000 trillion cubic feet of coal. 2,000 trillion cubic feet of coal, which can produce more energy than the Saudi Arab, Iran and Iraq oil resources combined. The analysts believe that if this resource of coal is utilized properly, it can be enough for the energy needs of whole of the Asian continent. Only 2% of the utilizations will produce 20,000 megawatts of electricity for 40 years to come. Then we have the water resources. The canal system of Pakistan is the biggest in the world. This was created in the aftermath of the Indus Water Treaty of 1960. In 1960, Pakistan had to give up 3 rivers to India in order to finalize a deal, because all of the rivers are originating from Kashmir, which was occupied by India in 1947, and in April 1948 it was the first time when India blocked the flow of rivers towards Pakistan. It was at that moment that we realized that India can go to such depths in its hostility towards Pakistan. So now we had to find out some kind of agreement to resolve this issue once and forever. Therefore, in 1960, a treaty was signed known as the Indus Water Treaty. Indus Water Treaty divided the 6 rivers among the 2 countries, and we got river Indus and Chenab and Jhelum. But later on, unfortunately, as we will discuss later, in the modern water warfare that India has originated, that the dams have been built inside Kashmir over the river Chenab and river Jhelum as well, and the flow of these rivers have been minimized up to the greater extent. And the second important thing is that this foreign factor is not the only factor which is responsible for the water shortage that Pakistan is facing today. It's the lack of political will, the lack of our leadership, the lack of political leadership, and the lack of creation of dams. The lack of consensus for the creation of dams is creating another problem. If Pakistan was able to build dams, it is believed that we could have 1 crore cubic meter of water reservoirs, which is going to be the largest in Asia. Then we have another important treasure which is known as the Rikodik mountain. In the Rikodik mountain district Chaghi, there are 12.3 million ton of bronze and 20.9 million ounce of gold. It is believed that in the Rikodik mountain 58% is bronze, whereas 20% is gold. So the gold that we have in the Rikodik mountain is equivalent to the $65 billion. And then most recently we have seen that Pakistan has a rich coastal line and a rich coastal area in the form of Gwadar. The Gwadar is the only port of Indian Ocean which contains the deep sea, where the bigger ship can be docked as well. The area between Gwadar and Chabahar and Persian Gulf, all of this area is very rich in energy resources. There are plenty of resources. According to some estimates, the billions of barrels of oil is present in this area. So this area is not important only strategically or economically for China or Pakistan or other countries, but it is also rich with natural resources. The next thing is agriculture. As the economy of Pakistan is dependent upon agriculture, therefore agriculture is also known as the backbone of Pakistan. Now we can see that Pakistan is self-sufficient in the food requirements because of the agriculture. Because of agriculture, and not only we are self-sufficient, but agriculture is a main part of our exports as well. Let's talk about the statistics. Wheat, rice and cotton, these 3 crops account for 24 to 30% of GDP. In the form of dairy, Pakistan is the 5th largest country of the world providing milk, the 6th largest in the provision of mangoes, the 4th largest in dates, and wheat, cotton and sugar exports of the country comes in the top 10 countries of the world. In this connection, we have seen that Punjab is rich in the field of agriculture, and Punjab is also known as the breadbasket of Asia. Agriculture not only is related to the crops, but many other industries are related to the field of agriculture as well. Technology, animal husbandry, dairy, and there are millions of people in Pakistan related to the field of agriculture on a daily basis. It is because of the importance of agriculture and the share of agriculture in the GDP of Pakistan, in the economy of Pakistan, that now agriculture is included in CPEC, and the phase 2 of CPEC specifically talks about agriculture. The problem that we are facing here in Pakistan is the lack of energy resources, first of all. The second important thing is about the farmers. They are not accommodated or compensated as they should have been. The third important factor is regarding the usage of tube wells. We have seen because of the shortage of water supplies, the trend of tube well is extending. Tube well not only consumes the diesel, but it also affects the water table of our lands, which is going down and down day by day. Then the canal system of Pakistan is based on an old system where plenty of water is lost to the mud. The pesticides that are being used in our crops are of low quality. The high quality pesticides are so expensive that they are not able to be purchased by local farmers. Another important thing is the spot price. The spot price mechanism is required to be redressed, because if the government of Pakistan is giving spot price of wheat, everyone is going to grow the wheat, and then we will face the production of other crops. Same is the case with other crops as well, in the case of cotton, in the case of rice. So these are the areas which specifically should be have a concentration of the government. The subsidy to the farmers is necessary, because most of the farmers are poor people, and without subsidy they cannot produce quality goods at an economic price. In the areas of Sindh, now we are facing another important problem, which is the seawater intrusion. Hectares of lands have been destroyed. That is the reason that the federal government emphasizes more and more on the establishment of dams, because if proper dams are established, then the flow of water will be controlled. The water coming from India in the summer season with an intention to affect Pakistan with floods, that can be controlled through dams, and then the flow of that water will be more calculated, and this may solve the problem of seawater intrusion, which is coming back to the lands. And then another important issue which is disastrous for our agriculture is the climate change. Pakistan is one of the country which is going to be affected drastically because of the climate change if proper measures are not taken. Because of COVID-19, many the changes of climate change, which were at a very fast pace, have been controlled, but we all know that in due course of time they are going to rise once again. The next topic is industry. The industry of Pakistan accounts for 24% of GDP. I would like to say that you all must visit the Pakistan Bureau of Statistics official website, and from there you can download the statistics about all these industries, about agriculture, about industry, and all of that I am talking about, because these statistics are very important. Whenever you are going to mention something in your paper without any reference, it is not going to be of any value unless you give the proper references. Textile industry, here we see that Pakistan is the 8th largest exporter of textile products, and it accounts for 57% of export revenue. The second industry important is the sports industry. We know that Sialkot remained a center of excellence in the production of sports related goods for almost 100 years. Many of the important brands, international brands like Adidas and Nike and Puma, all of them are using the products manufactured in Sialkot. The third important industry is sugar industry. The problem here is that the content of sugarcane should be at least 14%, but here in Pakistan we have only 8%. But generally we have more than 60 mills in Pakistan. 1 lakh labor force is related to this, and 9 million rural people are related to the sugar industry. The fourth important industry is the cement industry, where 69 million ton cement is produced in Pakistan as per the statistics of June 2020, the last month. First cement industry was established in the city of Wa in 1924. Then because of the growing trend of the production of cement industries, we have an All Pakistan Cement Manufacturer Association, which was established in 1992. Cement industry is contributing up to rupees 40 billion into the national GDP of Pakistan. And the cement industries, with respect to cement industries, we have divided these zones into the northern zone and the southern zone. The fifth one is the fertilizer industry. The fertilizer industry account for 21% of GDP, and 44% of country's workforce is related to the industry. With the initiation of CPEC, we are going to see a rise in the industry of Pakistan. In CPEC, 9 economic zones have been announced around the CPEC, where the industries are also specified, and those specified industries are going to be built. The problem that we face here is the lack of planning. The lack of planning means that many of agriculture lands have been lost because of the establishment of housing societies. The culture of housing societies that we see here in Pakistan, and the problem here is that most of the housing societies are built on the agriculture lands. So because of this factor, we lost many of the lands which could be used for cultivation, and the overall production of the crops have been reduced. Same is the case with industry. The losses that the industry of Pakistan have faced were mainly because of the energy crisis. Number second is the cost of production. Because of the cost of fossil fuels, because of the cost of electricity, the cost of production rises. And cost of production not only rises because of these factors, but the devaluation of money is also a big factor in that. But when we are going to the international financial institution to coping with the economic issues, obviously the first thing that we have to do is to devalue our currency. And when the currency is devalued, it means that the cost of production is going to rise, whether it is related to the agriculture products or the products related to industry. But we can hope that with the foreign direct investment in the form of CPEC or some other planned projects, the industrial sector of Pakistan is going to grow, and we can hope that the natural resources which are at the several locations inside Pakistan will be explored and will be used not only to benefit the people of Pakistan, but to benefit the people of all the region. The last important topic of this, the subtopic of this topic is education. But this is a very important topic, and I think you must have been bored right now. And this topic, I will give separate importance to this topic, and another lecture will be on the problems of education sector of Pakistan, because a specific essay was even asked on the problems of higher education in Pakistan. It was in 2018 paper of English essay. So that is very important topic. The problems are not only related to the higher education, but at the primary level, the secondary level, tertiary level, and the higher education level, we are facing plenty of problems with relation to this. And education is very important. If we are not going to look into the details of what are the problems and how we are going to solve these problems, and if we don't make a policy in due course of time, it means that there is going to be a great loss to our nation. So this was our lecture for today. In the next lecture, I will be talking about Pakistan and the changing regional apparatus. If you have any questions, you can contact me anytime through the accounts that I have provided. And I would also recommend you to go to clalibrary.blogspot.com. It is the blogger that I am creating, where I am uploading the books mentioned in the suggested readings. All the books of Pakistan affairs have already been uploaded. You can download them and make your notes with using the references from these books. It will be very helpful to you. Thank you very much. Stay blessed. Allah Hafiz.